One of the concerns we deal with a lot in dealing with family relationships is the question of domestic violence, and there's really two sides to that coin. Uh, I personally, one of the trends that I am seeing now is, I think, a bit of an abuse of the domestic violence protection laws. I think that people have learned that by claiming that domestic violence exists when it really may not, that there's the concept that there can be a legal advantage as a result of that. And if there is a protective order that results from domestic violence, there really are some legal advantages. There's legal advantages as it relates to custody of children. A victim of violence is presumed to be the parent who should have custody. A victim of domestic violence is presumed really to not have a duty to pay spousal support to a perpetrator. But domestic violence, in my view, is intended for situations where there are, in fact, true victims of violence. And that doesn't necessarily mean that a person is being physically abused. You're pushing, shoving, hitting. It can be verbal, but it has to be a pattern. It has to be a routine. It has to be something that creates an emotional oppression upon a victim. It can be financial. If a person in a family relationship is subject to the absolute financial control of their partner, that can be considered domestic violence. So that a person is not able to perhaps leave the relationship because of financial control. So there are definitely real cases of violence. There are definitely available remedies to protect people from violence. But I think the legal profession needs to explore carefully the evidence in support of those cases to make sure that the process is not being abused. Now, when we do have those cases, we have people that are hit. We have people that are shoved and pushed. We have people that are locked up in rooms, and we have people that are called horrible names on a regular basis, and often in front of children. We have people that have been, I've had clients that weren't permitted to buy a bag of potato chips without the permission of their spouse. All those things are abusive, and there are remedies available. The process is pretty swift. With under California law, a simple declaration that outlines the things that have been going on and when they've been going on and how they've been going on. Within 1 or 2 court days, the court can issue a protective order, and that person can be immediately protected from that relationship, so that they're not allowed the perpetrator can't contact them, can't call them, can't email them, can't have somebody else talk to them, can't post a social media communication indirectly intending to communicate with the other side, can't be within usually 100 yards. So there's all kinds of ways to protect a person. And the court does set up a hearing process for the accused party to be able to voice their side of the story in court. And the cases usually are resolved relatively quickly and with testimony and evidence and proof. And almost always there are text messages or emails or other witnesses that can corroborate the truth behind what has happened. Now, with that said, sometimes, rarely, I'll get a call from somebody who says, yeah, in fact, recently I had a case where a person is indicated, this, I have no freedom, he controls everything, I can't do anything, I can't leave the household, all these horrible things are happening to me. And I got 100 pages worth of text messages where she's telling him what to do every minute of the day, and he's complying. And I show her, I said, well, how are you controlled by him? He's doing everything you're telling him to do. And she goes, yeah, but I just didn't feel comfortable. Well, whether or not you feel comfortable, the reality is an objective standard, and the reality is what's actually going on in terms of how the relationship is being managed. So we want to help people. We want to help people who need help. We want to help people who aren't making a claim to the court that just is simply unrealistic. And so those protections are available. Once the court issues the order, they're good for any period of time up to 5 years and can even be renewed for a lifetime so that a person has permanent protection. We have clients who have been the subject of severe abuse. People have ended up in prison and they have lifetime protection in terms of those orders. And that means that if that perpetrator ever shows up in their life again, they can immediately be arrested and subject to criminal prosecution for violation of those orders. So those tools are very helpful. But at the same time, people need to be cautious. A domestic violence protection order is a court order. It's not going to stop a bullet. It's not going to stop a knife. It's not so people have to be aware of their surroundings. They have to be aware of what's going on, and certainly call the police and use law enforcement. But don't foolishly rely upon a court order in an emergency, exigent life or circumstance type of situation. People still need to be careful and make sure their kids are in a safe place.